Alyssa Ivanson has been following this breaking news for us. She joins us now live from the scene. Alyssa, what do we know?
Well, we're told that the man who was hit is in extremely critical condition. The woman who was driving the car that hit him is being questioned by police. They don't think drugs and alcohol were involved, though. Police and firefighters still on the scene. Let me show you what's going on right now. You can see where the fire department is really in the middle of the intersection with that hose there. Where that firefighter in the middle is standing is about where the man was found when police arrived on the scene a little before 10:30 this morning. He was walking, though, across the street in the crosswalk. He was going from the east to the west, so from the BP gas station toward Bishop Luers High School. And police say that when he started crossing the street, he did have the crosswalk right-of-way. The red light was on the stoplight. But when he got to about the middle, that's when the light cycled and turned green. Now, police tell us that in the left-hand straight lane, so kind of in the middle two lanes on the left side, there were some cars parked, stopped at the red light. And the woman who hit the man was driving in the right-hand lane. Because of those cars that were stopped, she did not see the man in the crosswalk, and that's when she hit him. Again, he was in the crosswalk and ended up in the middle of the road. The woman did stop, and police are taking her to the hospital to evaluate her for any drugs or alcohol, but again, they don't think those were involved right now. Lafayette is still closed on the southbound lanes. That stopped at Pettit. Paulding is still blocked here at the intersection with Lafayette, but as you can see, they're starting to wrap up cleaning up the scene, so this intersection should be back open relatively quickly. And of course, we'll have the latest on any new developments in this investigation tonight at 5 and 6. Live at Lafayette and Paulding, Alyssa Ivanson, News Channel 15.
Alyssa Ivanson started asking questions yesterday, and today her investigation found that the crosswalk is not up to national standards. She joins us live from Lafayette and Paulding with what she discovered.
That's right. This intersection does have walk signals. Yesterday, we learned how the counting is calculated, but today, when we measured the intersection, the math didn't add up.
Life or death. You either cross safely or you risk the chance of either serious injury, if not death.
You'd be surprised how many people cross the street when the walk signal says stop.
You'd want to think that people realize of the potential risk of doing the wrong thing. Does it surprise me? It disappoints me.
Our cameras caught people not waiting for the walk sign at Lafayette and Paulding. But if they did wait, is there enough time to cross the 4-lane highway? Yesterday, we told you how cross signals are timed. We learned that once they start flashing, if you walk at 3.5 feet per second, you should make it all the way across. This intersection gives 29 seconds. So if you do the reverse math, that means the intersection should be 101.5 feet across. Well, we wanted to measure and double check. After measuring all the way across the intersection, we came up with 197 feet. That's 96 feet longer than what the walk time allows. Doing the math again, that means the signal should start to flash at 56 seconds, not 29. We took our findings to the Indiana Department of Transportation. I just measured it. Okay. And it's 197 feet.
It's 197 feet?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I will tell our traffic engineer that.
After our interview, the NDOT spokeswoman did talk to the engineer, who confirmed our measurement on Google Earth. They immediately contacted the traffic systems engineer to take a closer look at the signals. Now, back out here live, NDOT did not say today when it would check the intersection or if and when any timing of the signals could be changed. But, of course, we will continue to follow this story for you. Live at Lafayette and Paulding, Alyssa Ivanson, News Channel 15.
Today, News Channel 15's Alyssa Ivanson discovered new details and got an exclusive look at some surveillance video. She's here tonight. Alyssa?
That's right. Today, we saw the video taken in Little Burma Grocery yesterday. We also uncovered that the investigation into that robbery is in part thanks to a good neighbor.
Looking right and left and up and around, like you could not be any more suspicious looking.
This woman, we'll call her Diane, knew something wasn't right yesterday when she looked out her window. So she took video of the stranger in the nearby alley.
And he was messing with his waistband of his pants, and I couldn't see for sure if he was just messing with it or if he had a weapon, but he did put on a glove.
She called police to report a suspicious person.
Then he came running through that house's yard, hopped over a fence. The money fell out when he was jumping over the fence.
When the officer got there, he knew something didn't add up.
There's all this cash just strewn about the alley. This didn't come from a home. Where could it have possibly come from? It's too much for one individual to have just dropped it running.
He went around the corner and discovered Little Burma Grocery had just been robbed.
They had not reported it, at least not yet.
This robbery 8 days after an armed robbery at Mon Asian Grocery just 2 blocks away. That suspect caught on camera. Just like in last week's robbery, this grocery store has surveillance cameras, and we get an exclusive look at the video. The man in the pictures matches the man in the alley.
I scared a little bit.
In an exclusive interview, the employee held at gunpoint remembers what the robber said.
Don't move, don't call telephone, don't call 911. Give me the old money.
Now police investigating 2 robberies. The suspect images very similar, and they're asking for people to call in tips.
Even if they're your friend, that's what you do.
Now take another look. If you recognize the man in either picture or the Ivy Tech sweatshirt or the hats, call Crime Stoppers 436-STOP. And while they do look very similar, police have not officially said that these robberies are connected. They're still investigating that.
Okay, important to point that out. Thank you, Alyssa.
We have a condition update on the man rescued from a huge house fire on US 33 Friday night. 63-year-old Stephen Harris's family tells us he's still in the hospital, but is making big improvements. Harris's family is also thanking a Churubusco firefighter for pulling him from the flames. I sat down with that firefighter earlier today. He's a humble man doing a job he loves, and a man many call a hero. Ben Rinker stays busy with 3 boys and his dream job.
It's just a passion, you know, you love helping people.
A volunteer firefighter with the Churubusco Smith Township Fire Department. Then Friday night, a fire he'll never forget. Rinker and his family were driving into Fort Wayne on US 33.
We drove through the smoke is when I first realized it.
A house on fire. Without hesitation, he pulled over.
And before I knew it, he was out of the car and gone into the darkness.
Rinker's training took over.
I looked into the structure and I seen a man laying face down, but I saw his arm move.
Without any firefighter gear or air tank, Rinker ran into the burning house. 63-year-old Stephen Harris was lying right inside the front door.
I found him laying face down. I picked him up. Fire was coming out of the door where the man was. I mean, it was fire rolling over the top of us.
Just as Rinker had disappeared into the smoke, he reappeared back at his van.
Holding this gentleman, cradling him like a little baby.
Rinker left Harris with his wife to go back and make sure no one else was still inside the house. The fire was too intense to go in any further, but fortunately, Harris was the only one home at the time.
He had guardian angels or what, but he was laying in fire. You know, the debris that had fallen down from the ceiling and stuff was on the ground and he was laying in it.
The Rinkers and Harris's family say a higher power was at work that night. The Rinkers were running late for their appointment and should have driven by 45 minutes earlier.
It was God's timing for me to be where I was at that time.
And Rinker's bravery heroic.
It's kind of humbling, you know. I really don't know what to say. You don't think about that.
It brings tears to my eyes to see the looks on my children's faces as they watch their daddy save someone's life. It was very powerful.
Those boys dreaming to grow up to be like their daddy and one day be firefighters too.
They just keep saying, I can't believe Daddy went into that fire in his street clothes and brought that man out. They're just, that's their hero.
The Harris family hopes to somehow honor Rinker. The cause of that fire is still under investigation. The Fort Wayne Children's Zoo is set to open tomorrow. Crews have been working all week to get everything ready, but now Mother Nature has added a few things to the to-do list. Franke Park, more like Franke Lake. Those rafts are actually tops of picnic tables.
We are in a floodway.
On the doorstep of the Fort Wayne Children's Zoo, the floodwater creating a bonus animal exhibit outside, but some of it finding its way inside.
This flooding was not unexpected. This is typical of what we experience at the zoo with the heavy rain. Debris blocked a drain, creating a second pool across the wall from the sea lions. Part of the Australian Adventure has some minor flooding. They're in the floodway. The dingo yard has a little water in it. The kangaroo yard has a little water. The farm area, the hardest hit. I'm sure we are not the only farm in Indiana that's dealing with water problems right now.
The goats were actually already in the barn when the floodwaters came because of construction on the exhibit. And you can see the original floodwater line, so the water is already receding.
It's kind of disappointing to have it the day before we open, but we're taking care of it.
Crews have been working hard for weeks to get ready.
We had just mulched the entire zoo last week.
Some of that mulch now displaced on sidewalks and walkways. All the animals are safe and dry. The flooding won't stop opening day, but not every animal will be out.
In part because of the flooding and in part because of the very chilly temperatures we're experiencing.
Right now, floodwater is blocking the entrance to Franke Park and the zoo. They do think that it will be down by tomorrow, and crews are working to help the water subside. But if it's still flooded, there's plenty of parking in the lot right across the street. At the Fort Wayne Children's Zoo, Alyssa Ivanson, News Channel 15.
That's our top story. Alyssa?
We'll follow the blood trail at this scene, and it looks like the woman was running for her life. The violence this morning leaving neighbors uneasy. On this hot first day of summer in the Ridgebrook Village Mobile Home Park, boys riding bikes, kids out playing, just feet from a mobile home turned crime scene.
To know that it happened right where you live is scary.
Wow, there's a bunch of cops out there. And I said, yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Peggy Swartz lives across the lawn.
And then on the news it said it happened at 11:30. A stabbing. A woman was stabbed and she's in the hospital.
Evidence left behind indicates the woman was stabbed in the mobile home. Blood smeared on the glass storm door and drops trail along the sidewalk, leading to the parking lot by the main office and mailboxes. That's where police found her with multiple stab wounds.
It is a little scary because, like, it's neighbors.
Nicole Abbott lives down the street. She first heard about the stabbing on Wayne.com.
I've lived here 2.5 years. Nothing like this ever happens. I mean, you hear people fight, but it never gets to that point where it's violent.
Another neighbor didn't want to show her identity, but knew the people living in the mobile home.
I couldn't believe it because they're good people and it just doesn't seem like something that would happen.
The woman went to a hospital in serious condition. Police think the suspect got in a car and drove off before they arrived, and they're still looking for him. But police also think the stabbing is a domestic situation, which is a little comfort for people on the block.
If someone's breaking in across the street or something, then that's gonna scare anyone.
I would definitely be a lot more afraid if it was a home invasion or a robbery gone bad or something. A little more comfort that it's maybe a fight between spouses or something. But still scary, still really real scary.
Police have not released the suspect or victims' names yet.
And she joins us now with some of the memories that people shared today.
That's right. There were a lot of lawmakers at the funeral today, and the common message, her loyalty to serving her community. Phyllis Pond was a statesman, a mother, a teacher, and a mentor to so many. Hundreds came to say a final goodbye to State Representative Phyllis Pond.
I have called her in the past a lady warrior, and she truly was.
Pond was a record breaker at the State House, 35 years as a representative, and the first woman to have a seat in the front row. In a funeral service at her home church in New Haven, lawmakers remembered Pond as an honorable public servant. Lieutenant Governor Sue Ellspermann said while she was small in stature, Phyllis walked with large footprints at the State House. Many people, though, remember Pond as a kindergarten teacher. She taught at New Haven Elementary for 37 years.
As I worked in school, I saw that she followed her former students all the way through until they graduated.
Even though Pond retired from the classroom to become a lawmaker, she never stopped teaching.
She had great institutional knowledge. And the history lessons were amazing.
Everything was a teachable moment for my mother, no matter how little.
Pond was respected and loved, and her legacy will live on. The state seal of Indiana, even on her casket. Watching a police-led procession, firefighters and people in the community paid their last respects. A garrison flag flew in her honor.
A huge influence and a huge asset to the city of New Haven. Just about everybody in town knows her.
She loved everybody and everybody loved Mom.
A lot of wonderful stories were shared today, and I also learned that Phyllis was in a bridge club, and she was still playing once a month until about a couple months ago. And she'd bring the bridge club down to the State House about once a year, and when they'd walk in, everyone would say, "Oh, here's Phyllis's bridge club." So certainly a lot of great memories today.
That's pretty cool. She's definitely going to be missed.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Alyssa.